Hi, morning and welcome to the channel. Thanks for joining us again on this one. So this morning finds us in beautiful landscape in Newton, Wellington, the Western Cape, South Africa. So 25 years ago, 2 days and 50 minutes ago, my friend pulled up here in a white Mercedes Benz, sitting in the back seat next to her father, and he helped her out with the car and he walked her up this ramp over here into the church. And I was also in the church. I didn't have an invitation to the wedding, but I wasn't of course going to miss it for anything. So anyway, there we were all gawping as she walked up the aisle, and she was so beautiful as she walked up there. And so we all looked, and they walked right up to the front, and then they stood there and waited. And then my brother kicked my ankle and I walked forward and I shook the old man's hand and thanked him for the honor of letting me get married to his daughter. And so 45 minutes later, we put rings on each other's fingers and we came down the ramp here to meet our friends and guests and the confetti and all that. And then we left from here and we went to Bainskloof for the reception. So let's go to Bainskloof and go see where all this happened. So we're going through the Berg, or the Mountains, via Bainskloof. It's an 18-kilometer stretch of mountain pass which traverses the Berg, and it was completed in 1853. Now it was done under the direction of Andrew Geddes Bain, which is why it's called Bainskloof. Now kloof is a gorge, so Bain's Gorge, but because of the Dutch influence of the Cape Colony at the time, it's known as Bainskloof. And they used convict labor. The reason for this pass was to get people to the interior of the country quicker. Otherwise, they would have to traverse mountain passes, or at least the mountains, without there really being a proper road in place. Now, this road goes to Ceres. Now, Ceres is a fruit growing region. So, for the Cape Colony, needing to trade with the farmers there in those areas, this would have been the fastest route for almost 100 years. Obviously, at that stage, it was a gravel road. It was for ox wagons and horse-drawn carriages, and it cut out a significant amount of time for people to get to that side. It made trade so much easier. It was an important road at that stage. About 6 years ago, the road, the mountain pass, underwent an extensive revamp. It was closed for several months and completely revamped. The smoothest tarmac you can get. Beautiful road markings. The road verges all finished off nicely with rocks in places. Look, the rocks were always there before. There were rocks, they were painted white. That was to prevent you from going down over the edge, but they were interspersed with empty space, and so frequently people went and parked their cars down the valley here. Anyway, so now you know Andrew Geddes Bain did the pass. They used convict labor. I want to go and see if we can see some of the graves of those convicts. So here we are in the middle of the first section of Bainskloof. So we haven't yet reached Eerste Tol. It's up there, but this is a pull-out. Maybe I should wave this happy snappy around. It's a pull-out on the side of the road. Very nicely done. Stones cemented in with picnic tables. But the bins have seemingly been raided by baboons because it's strewn, the rubbish is strewn all over the show here. We're on the edge of a valley down here, and the road reaches back all the way, and we have Wellington, the town, right there on the other side. I don't think you're going to see much with this happy snappy camera, but nevertheless, there it is. And then we have farmlands down below here. Looks like grapes, I can't be too sure. From here now, we're going to go up the mountain. We're going to get to Eerste Tol. We're going to see if we can see the memorials there, and then see if we can see the graves of the convicts that built the pass. We are now at the memorial, and we are just going to have a look at some of the stones that have been laid there before going into the village on this side. So let's go and have a look. So Bainskloof Pass is a national monument, and Andrew Geddes Bain explored the kloof in 1846 and commenced construction of this highway in the north, or to the north, in 1849. In honor of Andrew Geddes Bain, 1797 to 1864, architect and builder of the Bainskloof Pass. We commemorate all those who built this pass, the convicts and their supervisors whose names we know and respect, in particular the 3 who died by accident. Well, I didn't know they knew the names. As far as I could remember, they didn't know who they were. They should have done. I mean, they should have had records. Yeah, I'm a bit puzzled. Anyway, let's go and see if we can find the graves. So our wedding reception was in there. You could look down at the river down there at the bottom. Really idyllic place to have a wedding reception. It wasn't as overgrown though as it seems to be now. So we found the graves, and I also have a special and personal connection to this place. So this house belongs to UCT, and when I was a student years ago, I was a kid still, I was at the University of the Western Cape, and we came to stay in this house as part of an excursion. We went to go and look at lichens on the rocks down at the river below. We in fact spent many hours here on the stoop regaling each other with stories about our youthful exploits. So we were still so young and inexperienced. I imagine that those graves were here in this area. So I'm actually not sure, I don't remember them being there. So I just spoke to the lady here now, and she said that she's been living there for almost all her life. Her father bought that place as a holiday home, and she and her husband bought it from him, and they lived there all this time. So she and her husband put this chain around these graves, and she says they were not moved. So maybe it's just my imagination then. What the Queen said about recollections may vary. So yeah, maybe I'm just not remembering it correctly. Also, the lady spoke about these being Italian prisoners of war. What I imagine these people would be, if they're unknown and unnamed, would probably have been local people, local to the Cape region, and in other words, indigenous people who were on the wrong side of the new laws and found themselves conscripted, shall we say, into convict labor against their will, perhaps. I don't know whether that is real or not, whether these were African people from here, or whether these were Italian prisoners of war. So maybe you know where these people come from. I think they were local. I don't think they were Italian prisoners of war. Maybe I'm wrong. I'd like to be corrected. For now, I'm out. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.